think I've said before, March Madness is my Christmas. It's my favorite time of year, okay? We have March Madness. Basically, here's what it is. I know some of you are not familiar with March Madness. I don't know why. It's the best thing ever. But basically, we have technically 68 games. 64 is all I care about, though. So basically, this is from 2015. So just to give you an idea, okay, lower numbers mean they're the better team. So back in 2015, Virginia was a number 1 seed. They played 16 seed, which is Hampton, okay? Now I'm going to tell you, so going back to this page, this will tell you how often a 16 seed has beaten, a 1 seed has beaten the 16 seed. There's been 124 games played. The 16 seed has never ever won, okay? That's as close to a lock as you're going to get, okay? 124 and all. That was as of 2015. They've played 8 more games since then. It's probably 132 and all now. It's never happened. Now, there has been a 2 seed. A 2 seed has played a 15 seed. The 2 seed has beaten the 15 seed 94% of the time. It's probably a little bit higher now, okay? As of 2015, the 2 seed had won 117 games. The 7 seed had only won 7. So the 2 seed has beaten the 15 seed 94% of the time. Now, one of these days, a 16 seed is going to beat a 1. It's never happened yet, though. But 7 times a 2 seed has beaten a 17 seed. It might be more than 7. These are 2-year-old numbers. So here's the deal. You can look on here and you can see all this is the 2 seed. So this one's an interesting seed one here. The 2 seed versus the 4 seed. Now, you would think that the 2 seed would be the better team, but in fact, the 4 seed has beaten them more than half the time. So that one's kind of weird that there's often more upsets. But they've only played 9 times. There's not a lot of data there. It's not like this where you've played 124 times. Okay? There's not a lot of games here, and so you can kind of see how often they've played. 2 versus 3, that happens a lot of times, but 2 versus 4 doesn't happen very often. Okay? Now some of these, if there's a blank space, the 5 seed has never ever played the 7 seed. So if you get something there, you're on your own. I don't know how you're going to predict that, because that's never happened. But these are the records. It's the higher, the better team versus the worst team generally. Now, when you get a 1 versus a 1, they're both equal teams. So that's a flip in the coin there. You get the 8-9 game. So the 8 seed versus the 9 seed. Those are 2 very evenly matched teams. It's happened. The 8th seed has won 53% of the time. That's pretty close to flipping a coin. Okay. So you can use this information to fill out your bracket. Now we got 4 brackets. In 2015 they had the Midwest, the East, the West, the South, and then once you pick your winner. So for example, Virginia beat Hampton. That's happened 100% of the time. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to come up with some sort of a legend. Okay, I'm going to have to update these numbers, but this is what it was in 2015. So. It's going to be the 1 seed versus the 16 seed. So you're going to have to come up with some sort of a legend. So the legend I came up with, because I didn't want to use 100% of the time. So one of the things that I did do was I said, well, down here, if you look at the 1 versus the 10 through 16 seeds, the number 1 record, the number 1 team has a record of 155-3 versus the 10 through 16 seeds. So rather than use 100%, I use 98%, 0.981. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to pick a number from 1 to 1,000. I want you to use the information from this page on here, okay? Now pretend I haven't filled this out. In fact, I'm going to pretend I haven't filled this out. Okay? You taught how to get to in that year. Okay? Okay, so this is what it's going to look like for you. I will tell you who all the first round matchups are. you're going to get a sheet like this. You can see that Virginia has beaten Hampton. So in my case, I got a random number 16. And I said, if I get any number less than 981, then I'm going to pick the number 1 seed. Okay? So in this case, I got a random number of 16. That says, okay, it's going to be Virginia. Okay? Now, the next number I picked was 534. No, well, there's a 534 winning percentage. So the 8 seed has beaten the 9 seed 53% of the time. The random number I got was 404. Okay? 404 means I'm going to pick the number 18. So in this case, I'm going to pick 8, which is Texas Tech. Okay? Now, in this case, this is going to be a 1 versus an 8. So if I go back to here, the number 1 team versus the number 8 team, the number 1 has won 80% of the time. Okay? And so now, in the next round, so this is part of your tree diagram, I want you to do a simulation. Okay, so in this case, I said any number less than 802 is going to be the higher seed. I got the number 13. That says Virginia. The 1 seed is Virginia. Okay. And then I'm going to fill out my bracket that entire way. Does that make sense? Okay. So here's the deal. I'm going to allow you to do this twice. Here's how the points are going to be awarded. Okay? I will allow you to pick anybody you want. This is fun. It's fun to do. If you fill out a bracket, you get 1 point for filling it out. I don't care how good or bad it is. I don't care whether you know anything. Just so you know, I make my wife fill this out. She hates basketball. She's like, every year you make me do this. And I say, yes, it's a family tradition. And she beats me, even though she doesn't know crap, and I watch a lot of sports. She beats me more than half the time. It drives me crazy. One time, though, one year, I was number 1 in the Facebook group for Weber State out of 119. I won. Okay? So, but it really, mainly this is a probability assignment. So you can do it by yourself, and then if you use the simulation as I'm showing you here, I'm going to give you 3 points just for trying. Okay? So if you do it yourself, you get 1 point. If you do a simulation, it's 3. So you can get 4 points just for trying. Okay? But it's got to be filled out accurately. I want to see your legend. I want to see how you pick your random numbers, that sort of a thing. And I will update this. Now, the teams aren't going to be announced until, I think, this Sunday, or it might be next Sunday. I can't remember. But anyway, so I won't have this up for a little bit, but this relates to what we were talking about as far as simulations today, okay? So here's how you get 1 point for every Final Four team you get correct, okay? You get 1 point for every Final 2 team you pick, and you get 1 point for picking the national championship. So that's a total of 7 possible extra credit points. But you can get those 7 points on your regular bracket or your simulation bracket. So there's like 7 and 3 is 10. There's like 20 possible points you can get for doing this. But you've got, so we will watch this. We'll update it over the next few weeks. And anyway, so do you have any questions for me? So you have to have the brackets before the first games are played on Thursday, before the Thursday, and I got to find out exactly when it is. So you only have between Sunday and Wednesday night to fill this out. Okay, so and I can't remember if it's this Sunday or next Sunday that they announce them. Does anyone know? It'll either be this Sunday or next Sunday that I will post the updated things. And I'll update the scores so that you have everything there. And so I want the brackets submitted on ESPN. Okay? ESPN tracks it all for me, and then I'll know. Okay? I do want to see your spread. You need to submit your spreadsheet on Canvas, but I want you to also do a username on ESPN. It's free, and I'll have you join my Math 1040 group at UVU, and I'll give you instructions on how to do that. Okay? And we'll probably talk about it more on Tuesday for any questions that you may have. But yeah, this will be something fun to do for spring break. Okay? All right, see you all on Tuesday.